Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Soumya. In today's lab, I will be performing this challenge lab. I will be explaining each and every task as part of this lab. So let's get started. So this is a 1 hour 30 minutes lab. It's a lengthy lab. So please stay until the end of this video so you can fully understand how to perform this lab. So let's go to task 1, create the configuration files. So as part of this task 1, we need to create these configuration files in this format. Let's create it. Activate the Cloud Shell. Click on continue. So now we are in a working space. So let's first create this main.tf variables.tf files. Then we will be creating this modules directory. Inside that instances, inside the instances, we'll be creating these 3 files. So let's get started. So you can execute this touch main.tf. It will create the file. Now this is created. You can see if you run ls, it will show main.tf file. Next we need to create this variable.tf file. So we will create it same way. Now let's create this directory modules. So to do that, we need to run mkdir modules. Inside modules, we'll create an instances directory. If you want to create a directory inside a modules, you have to execute in this way, or you can cd to modules, run a pwd, it will show your present working directory. So if you are inside a directory, you can just execute mkdir instances. So this will create a directory inside the modules. So once you create that, inside instances, we need to create these 3 files. So if we go inside instances directory, so it will show instances.tf. This is a file. So let's create 2 more files. So we can execute touch. We can create 2 files at a time. So I will copy this, both of these 2. So I am creating outputs.tf and variables.tf files inside instances directory. Let's create this storage directory. So this storage directory should be inside these modules. So let's run mkdir modules followed by the name. So you have to provide the name. So we have already created this instances directory. Now we need to create the storage. So if we go to modules, you can find it. So now this directory is created. So inside that directory, let's create 3 files inside this. So let me run touch storage. Now if you do ls storage, it will list the files. So this is done. We have created the directory and the files. Next, we need to fill out the variables.tf files in the root directory and within the modules. Add 3 variables to each file: region, zone and project ID. So when I run pwd, so if I do ls, here it shows my variables.tf file. So this is a file which we need to edit it. Let me vi to this. There are 3 variables. First is region, second is zone, next is the project ID. So for region, you will be giving US-East1. For zone, it will be US-East1-C. And for the project ID, you need to replace it with your project ID. So the project ID, you can get it here. So copy this and provide here. So let's copy this configuration file. Paste it here. Save this file. Next, again, we need to update this inside modules, instances. So we need to update this variable file as well. Vi to this, update it here. We have 2 directories, instances and storage, which contains variables.tf. So you have to update this variables.tf file in both of these directories. Let's update it here inside storage. So vi this. Now it's updated. We have completed this step 2. Let's move it with a step 3. We need to add a Terraform block and Google provided to the main.tf file. We also need to add zone, project and region arguments in the Google provider block. So let's do that. So let's go back to our Cloud Shell. Let us do the edit using Open Editor. So it will be very simple. Let's open our folder. This is a folder. Let's open this. Here we need to update this main.tf. It doesn't have anything here. So this way you have to add. So here the Terraform block defines the required providers and their versions. So in this case, we are just defining the provider name here. If you want to specify the version number as well, you can add that as well. Next, under provider, we are configuring the Google as a provider. So this references the values of the variables which is defined in the variables.tf file using this syntax var followed by the name. So this is the var dot whatever is this, it is called variable name. So here we are referring to 3 variables: project, region and zone. With these additions, we have added the Terraform block and the Google provider to the main.tf file. And we have ensured that zone, project and region arguments are included in the configuration for the Google provider. So next we need to initialize the Terraform. So once this is done, this will be automatically saved. So let's open our terminal. So let's execute this Terraform init. So this will initialize the Terraform. So we have successfully initialized the Terraform. Now let's move ahead with the task 2, import infrastructure. So in the Google Cloud Console on the navigation menu, click Compute Engine VM instance. Here under navigation menu, we need to select Compute Engine. So here you can see there are 2 instances already running, and so it's already provisioned. Next, we need to import these existing instances into the instances module. So these are the steps which we need to follow. First, we need to add the module reference to the main.tf file, then reinitialize Terraform. So we need to add the module reference in main.tf file, then run Terraform init. Next, we need to write the resource configuration in the instances.tf file to match the pre-existing instance. So we need to name our instances. So let's do this. So this is my main.tf file. Here we need to add this module instances, and under source we need to provide it like this. We have updated the main.tf file to include the module reference for the instances module. So this will ensure that Terraform recognizes and loads the instances module located in the module/instances directory. Let's save this. Let's execute Terraform init command. So this will reinitialize. So Terraform has been successfully reinitialized. Next, we need to write the resource configuration in the instances.tf file. So let's do that. On the editor, here under modules, inside instances.tf, we need to add the following file. Name your instances tf-instance-1. So we have named it. Here we are adding the resource. Under name, we are providing the name of the instance, and the machine type we need to update here. So let's update the machine type here. Details we get from here. So if you click here, if you click on this instance, machine type it is n1-standard-1. So let's update it here. Boot disk, we need to update the image name here. So update the boot disk image here. Next, here under network, need to update the network name here. So under network interfaces, you can find the network details here. So it is using the default network. Update here. It should be within the double quotes. It has startup script. So let's replace this with whatever they have provided here. Copy this and update here. Next, you have to follow the same step for instance 2 as well. So machine type will be, so you can go back to VM instance here. This is the second instance. For this, we are filling the details. So the details you can get here. So instance name is this. So machine type N1 standard. Copy this and paste here. Next, image. So image is the same only. It is using the same image. You can update here. Next, on a network, let's replace this. As you can see here, it is using the default network. Give it as default. Now let's update this as well. So this one only you have to copy and paste it here. Once this is done, you just save it. Next, we need to use the Terraform import command. So let's save this. Here we need to run the Terraform import command. Next, we need to execute this command. So let's copy this. So here we need to update the instance name. We have to update the instance ID. So let's delete this. Let's go back here. So instance ID you can find below the name. So this is the one. Copy this. Update it in your notepad. Same way, we need to do it for instance 2 as well. And copy the instance ID here. Notepad. So let's copy this command. Import is successful now. Let's execute again for instance 2. So let's execute for second instance as well. Our import is successful for second instance as well. So let's go back to our task. So we need to execute Terraform apply command. Let me execute Terraform apply command. Here enter a value as S. So here you can see it has changed 2 resources here. So let's scroll up and see what has happened. So here when we issued this Terraform apply command, so Terraform started updating. So here you can see it is updating these instances. So it's updating both the instances. So whatever configuration we have provided in our instance.tf file, so that configuration, it has Terraform has read those configuration and it started updating it. Click on check my progress. So this should be complete now. Now let's move ahead and configure a remote backend. Here we need to create a cloud storage bucket resource inside the storage module for the bucket name. We need to use this bucket name. These arguments we need to provide. So let's do it. To configure a remote backend, we need to provide the configuration this way. So this is a resource type is Google Storage Bucket, and we are giving the name for that as tf-bucket 225985, and the location we are mentioning it as US. Forced destroy we have set it as true. Uniform bucket level access we have set it as true. So let's copy this. Let's go to our storage module, and here under storage.tf, let's update here. So let's save this. Then next, we need to add the module reference to the main.tf file, initialize the module and apply the changes to create the bucket using Terraform. So under main.tf file, we need to add the module reference. So under main.tf, so here need to add the module reference. We have added the module storage, and the source path we have mentioned this way. This step is done now. Once this is done, we need to perform Terraform init. So let's execute it. So once that is done, we need to apply the changes to create the bucket using Terraform. Once the bucket is created, then only we can add it as a backend. So let's do that as well. Terraform apply. Here enter value as s. Here you can see this bucket has been created now. So once this bucket is created, the main.tf file, inside this Terraform block, we need to add that. So we need to add this block of code. Here we are adding a backend. GCS is nothing but Google Cloud Storage, and the bucket name. So whatever bucket we have created, that name we need to provide. So save it. Once it is done, save it. You can go to file and click on save. Once that is done, we need to again initiate Terraform init. So let's run Terraform init here. Now we can see it's initializing the backend. Here you need to provide a value as s. Now it has successfully configured the backend GCS. Let's move ahead. So this is complete now. You can click on check my progress. This should be complete. So now let's move ahead with the task 4, modify and update the infrastructure. So as part of this, we need to navigate to the instances module and modify the tf-instance-1 resource to use this machine type. Let's go to instances.tf. So here you need to update machine type. For this instance, it's done. Scroll down and update year as well. Updating is done. Next, so these two steps are complete now. Next, we need to add a third instance resource and name it as this. So let's copy this block of code, enter here. Here, let's update the instance name. You have to ensure that you update this instance name, and the machine type, it has to use n1-standard-2, that is same. So we have updated this as well. So here we have changed the instance machine type for both the instance, and we are creating one more instance by this name. So save this, run Terraform init. So whenever you make any changes to your configuration file, you have to perform Terraform init. Next, run Terraform apply, enter a value as s. So when we execute this Terraform apply command, you can see it is performing two operations here. One is create and one is update. So since in our configuration file, we have changed the machine type for the two instances. So that is considered as a modifying. And we are creating third instance. So that's a new creation. So here Terraform is performing these operations. As you can see, tf-instance1 will be updated. What it is updating is shown here. It is updating the machine type from n1 standard 1 to n1 standard 2. Next, instance 2 as well. It is updating the machine type here. Next, it is creating a new instance. So this is all getting created newly. Plus sign indicates it's creating newly. So here you can see apply is complete now. One resource got created and two resource got changed. Once this is done, let's go back, click on check my progress. So this should be done now. Next, we need to destroy the resources. So as part of this task, we just need to remove this third instance. So to do that, we just have to go back to our configuration file here, instance.tf. Here, just have to remove this configuration for instance 3. So ensure you remove only this instance 3 configuration details. So just delete it, save this. After removing it, initialize Terraform and apply the changes. So again, we need to run Terraform init and Terraform apply. Whenever you execute Terraform apply, it will ask for the confirmation. You have to provide it. Here, as you can see, only S will be accepted to approve. Now one resource got destroyed. When we issued this Terraform apply, destroy operation got executed and it is deleting this resource. And click on check my progress. This should be complete now. Once this is complete, let's move ahead with the task 6, use a module from the registry. In the Terraform registry, browse to the network module. You can click on this and see this is a module which we have to use it, network. So here I have defined the configuration. So the module name is network and the source path I have to specify here and the version for that. And here they have mentioned to use the version 6.0.0. So we have to provide that one, and the VPC name. We need to use this VPC name. A routing mode, it should be global, and we are creating 2 subnets. So let's go back to our notepad. So project ID, I have given it as var.project underscore ID. So it will read the variables.tf file and pick the project ID from there, and the network name. So whatever network we have created, that we need to provide. So ensure that you provide a correct network name here, and the routing mode here I mentioned global, and the subnet section here you need to provide the subnet name. So please ensure that you define the subnet name this way: subnet underscore name, subnet underscore IP. So this way only you have to specify. If you just give name is equal to subnet -01, it will lead to error. You will get an error that it is not defined, it is not found. So you have to ensure that you provide the name this way: subnet underscore name is equal to subnet -01 and IP. So this address range we have to use, and the region should be US East 1. So both the subnets I have defined this way. So let's copy this. So let's go to main.tf file here. We need to add that module. So I have added this module. So save this one. Once that is done, we need to run the Terraform init and run a Terraform apply command. Let's run Terraform init. Okay, let's run this Terraform init -upgrade. Now the Terraform has been successfully initialized. So whenever you get this error, failed to query available provider packages, you can run Terraform init-upgrade. Next, execute Terraform apply. So here you need to provide a value as s. So you can scroll up and see what it is doing. When we issue this Terraform apply command, it is creating network. So it's performing these operations. So it's creating subnet 1 and subnet 2 with all these details. This plus icon indicates it is adding this resource. Now the operation is complete. It has added 3 resources. So it has created network and created 2 subnetworks. Now let's move ahead. Next, we need to navigate the instance.tf file and update the configuration resource to connect tf-instance1 to subnet 01 and tf-instance-2 to subnet 02. So let's go to our instances.tf file. So under network interface, we need to update this network name to the one we have created just now. This is the one VPC name. You can copy that and paste here. Next, you need to add subnetwork here as subnet 01. Copy this, scroll down to, so this is TF instance 2. So here also we need to add those details. So here ensure that you change the subnetwork name to 02. So TF, this instance 1 should use subnet 01 and instance 2 should use subnet 02. So we have updated this. So let's save this. You can also use Ctrl S. Now let's execute Terraform init. Execute Terraform apply command. As you can see, update is in place. So what will be updated? So this TF instance 1, it will be updated. It's updating this network, subnetwork. So it will be using this. Same holds good for instance 2 as well. So this still sign, this indicates that this will be updated. Whatever resources will be modified or updated, that will be shown with this sign. This should be complete in some time. So now you can see apply is complete and the 2 resources got changed. Click on check my progress. This should be complete now. Let's configure a firewall. We need to create a firewall rule resource in the main.tf file, and we have to name it as tf-firewall, and this firewall rule should permit this network, so this is a VPC network, to allow ingress connection on all IP ranges. So 0.0.0.0 means all IP ranges it will allow on TCP port 80. Let's go to main.tf file. So let's add firewall rule here. Resource, and the resource type is firewall. Name we are specifying it as tf-firewall network. So here we have to update it with our project ID. So project ID you can get it here. Copy this and update here. and the VPC network name. You can verify once again. So this is the VPC name. So that is correct. And source ranges, we have specified this IP range. So you have to specify that way 0.0.0 allow protocol TCP 80. So now we have configured this firewall rule. Save this. Once these changes are updated, we have to initialize Terraform and apply the changes. Execute Terraform init. Now execute Terraform apply. Every time it will ask you to confirm, enter a value as S. Here it is creating firewall rule. So if you scroll up, here you can see what operation is going to be performed. Terraform will perform the following actions. Here it is creating a firewall rule and it is setting all these attributes. So source ranges we have defined and protocol and ports we have specified here. Apply is complete and one resource got created. So we can go back and check the progress. This should be complete. So connectivity test, you can do it. It's an optional. So that's it for today's video. I have completed this challenge lab on automating infrastructure on Google Cloud with Terraform. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel and stay up to date with the latest content on this channel. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next video.